from GMS Virginia, and this is going to be a lesson on the truth about integration, the destruction of the black family, part 3. I'm going to read the article and apply some scriptures. Lord's will, you be edified. So it says by Roy Douglas Melanson, and this is done on June 16, 2019. It says the breakdown of the black community, which we know as the tribe of Judah, the top tribe, the tribe that who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ, the tribe that he came from. So it says in order to maintain slavery, because prior to opening camp this week, it says I believe it was was it the 19th? Well, let me slow down. It was these the nigger woman. We understand she's not much. Is not the brightest, but they walked up talking about Juneteenth. We before, and I didn't want that on camera. So, but basically, we were asking them, how do we get free? What great war, what year, what date, and what great war, what great battle was fought for our freedom? And they couldn't respond. But that's why ultimately, that's why we know the people that's in the land in the Middle East now are not the people, because when you read the scriptures and link up scriptures and prophecy, Yahweh Shah, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ, a so-called black man, is going to deliver us and put us back in that land. And it never happened. The date or time, is not written in history. It's not written on records. Yahweh Shah is still waiting for the call and the order from Yahweh, our power, to come down and to throw down these Edomites and the wicked and evil, and to deliver the elect. So everybody's confused. But it says men and women were not legally allowed to get married because you didn't have that kind of love. It might get in the way of the economics of slavery. Same to this day. That's why the so-called black man and black woman is a constant bicker and it's a constant war. It was designed, because it hurt. It hurt is bad for business, for so-called black love or Israelite love, because you can also have a so-called black man with a so-called Latina and a Hispanic man with a so-called black woman. They are still Israelites, or a so-called Native American man with a so-called Latino or so-called black woman. But it says your children could be taken from you and literally sold down the river. So it says we must understand the burden of integration was always on the black family. Although white people underwent changes during integration because they had to be adjusted to Jake living around them, and it had to really actually been taught to really deal with them and how to intermingle with them while so close. And that's where those meetings come from. How to sell to a Negro, how to lead and lord over a Negro, and how to pretty much sleep good at night while the so-called black man is right next door to you. And really it goes back into that Willie Lynch letter, that great meeting that Esau had with those other Edomites. And this is the same meeting, those same those same meetings are happening to this day. How to deal with so-called blacks or Hispanics. It was the community and family which truly suffered the most devastation, as it was blacks were forced to adapt and adjust to a new norm in the integrated society. As it was, there was a time in American history when there were some things that so-called blacks wouldn't do. Actions such as disrespecting parents, Let me get that because there was more to it than just Mother's Day and Father's Day. So it says honor thy parents. I'll get that in KJV. Um, so Ephesians 6:1, and there's another one also in the Old Testament. So it said, "Children, obey your parents in the Lord, for this is right. Honor thy father and mother, which is the first commandment with promise, that it may be well with thee, and thou mayest live as long on the earth. And ye fathers, provoke not your children to wrath, but bring them up in the nurture and admonition of the Lord." So it says, Exodus 20 and 12, "Honor thy father and thy mother, that thy days may be long upon the land which the Lord thy power giveth thee." But due to the curses and Esau, um, you know, those snares and those traps, this whole family structure of the nation of Israel, the true Israelites, has been, fucked all up. Let me, what's that? It's in Sirach. Sirach, I believe the third chapter. I always get this mixed up. Salaki third, Salaki 3, Sirach 3. I think so. Hear me, Sirach 3 and 1. Hear me, your father, O children, and do thereafter, that ye may be safe. For the Lord hath given the father honor over the children, and hath confirmed the authority of the mother over the sons. Whoso honoreth his father maketh an atonement for his sins, and he that honoreth his mother is as one that layeth up treasure. Whoso honoreth his father shall have joy of his own children, and when he maketh his prayer he shall be heard. He that honoreth his father shall have a long life, and he that is obedient unto the Lord shall be a comfort to his mother. He that feareth the Lord will honor his father, and will do service unto his parents as to his masters. Honor thy father and mother both in word and deed, that a blessing may come upon them from thee. So for the blessing of the father establishes the houses of children, but the curse of the mother ruleth out foundations. Glory not in the dishonor of thy father, for thy father dishonor is no glory unto thee. For the glory of a man is from the honor of his father, and a mother in dishonor is a reproach to the children. And see, since Esau has turned things upside down, you know, since there's no fathers in the household and no fathers around, and no how you say is no resembling, is no basically is no push to even know your father, because your mother 9 times out of 10 dishonors him and makes it seem like he's the worst thing on earth. So that 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 envy, that resentment, it goes on the children, and that's why your son, he ends up growing up to be, he wants to be a woman, and these daughters, they would grow up and just become whores and sluts, and they believe that they can do everything on their own, which really it fucks up their mental, and everything is showing in full fledged today. So going back to the article, um, yeah, so it's more to it than just Mother's Day and Father's Day. You're supposed to love your parents every day and honor them and help them out. So leaders and elders in the community was something that just did not occur in the black culture. Um, Among countless other things, uh, yeah, back then many of us feared our parents and elders in the community as if they were God. We were raised to not only respect our parents, but our neighbors, teachers, preachers, and anyone else who had authority over us. Let me get that as well. Damn. Um, why trims thy ways? Why trimmest thy ways? So Jeremiah 2. Jeremiah 2:33. Why trimmest thou thy way to seek love? Therefore hast thou also taught the wicked ones thy ways. And Jake's whole concept of life is pleasing Massa, his oppressor, the so-called white man. That's why Jake really has been conformed to be an entertainer and be in the praise the so-called white man. I was just looking at um I stumbled across a Juicy J and Sukiana video, and she's in a video basically how you say tempting an Edomite, basically be trying to be his whore. That's basically what the so-called black woman has become. The ghetto gagging Edomite's whore for his pleasure, same as it always was during the plantations. And you so-called black men, you're the horsepower to Esau's queendom, and you are also his entertainment. So and his pleasure as well, because he what Esau does now is he coerces and grooms and institutionalizes Jake, basically like a Diddy. You know, it's more than it's a lot of Diddies out here. You know, they do more. They break Jake, they turn the nigga into Diddy, and then Diddy goes out there and break other Jake, and then he coerces you and breaks you down so he can lead you to the Edomite, and then he sets you up in a good fashion. He sets you up, and now you're groomed to be the Jay Z's, the gatekeepers, and the Diddies, and this is how the door revolves and keeps turning, and that's why the higher you go up in this society, and where Jake is, them niggas are just bugged the fuck out, and them niggas are through. So going back, and this is why Jake is turned the fuck out in America, because Jake has become one with Esau. So it says where was I? But once we were integrated, many of us chose to adopt the personalities, trends, and mentalities of our counterparts. One of the major stumbling blocks which Jake, took hold to were the so-called white man's gods and his ways. Ultimately, Jesus Christ. Once Jake took upon this custom, this idol, this image, they became one. And this is all Jake see. So just like the brother Kalal from the Jersey camp, he made me and him was talking one day, and we basically hey Jake, you need to learn, first you need to learn to give the white man back his gods, you know, and everything else should follow along. Well, ultimately, if you're if your house is dealing with you, cause this is one of the major biggest stumbling blocks there is that's out there. Basically, like this. This is basically what has happened to our people. You coerce, you grow up, you're groomed into basically being the so-called white man's endeavor, his delight, his pleasure, for whatever purpose he wants to do with you. You basically groom. Our people have groomed us to the likings of how you say acceptance of the so-called white man and woman. That's funny. I'm actually gonna. That's gonna be the image. So, Salaki, where was I? You can read Wisdom of Solomon, I believe the first chapter, Sirach, the first chapter, if I'm not mistaken. And you can also read Wisdom of Solomon, I believe the 12th chapter, which talks about gods. And it tells you how when people idolize idols and gods, they become useless and demonic as hell, roughly paraphrasing, I don't want to make this lesson too long. But it tells you in Exodus the 20th chapter not to worship images. But ever since we have took a hold of those images, we have become a degenerate nation. Because ultimately, it has to do with self hatred and ignorance and not knowing who the fuck we are. So, and we're angry, and we take out that anger amongst each other because Esau, for Esau to go to sleep at night, he turned you Jakes against each other. So this is Exodus 20:1. And Yahweh spake all these words, saying, I am the Lord thy power, which have brought thee out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. Thou shalt have no other gods before me. Thou shalt not make unto thee any graven image or likeness of anything that is in heaven above, or that is in the earth beneath, or that is in the water under the earth. And it's crazy because Jake talk all this shit and Esau talk all this shit. Color doesn't matter. But you never ever fucking said anything about that so-called white image of Jesus Christ. Never. Nobody said anything. Verse 12, I think I've read this already. It's in verse 12. Honor thy father and thy mother, that thy days may belong upon the land which the Lord thy power giveth thee. Thou shalt not kill. And that's really, thou shalt not murder. Thou shalt not commit adultery, which is heavy. And you do that because you don't know the truth. You don't know the law, statutes, and commandments. And you worship idols. Thou shalt not steal. Thou shalt not bear false witness against thy neighbor. Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's house. Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's wife, nor his manservant, nor his maidservant, nor his ox, nor his ass, nor anything that is in thy neighbor's, that is thy neighbor's. But, unfortunately, since we are so, demonic and so driven and so got our heads up the so-called white man's ass, he teaches all this amongst our people and amongst each other. So Jake steal from each other. They commit adultery. Or if a so-called black man see another black man with his woman, he'll covet her. And so-called black men already premeditate to kill each other, to murder each other. They bear false witness. They talk a lot of shit amongst each other. Nigga wants what you have. He wants your house. He wants your woman. He wants your belongings. If you have a business of your own, because you have a manservant or a maidservant, because what you have belongings and things that you possess, you will have a manservant or a maidservant to basically that would be your employee, your employee, your belongings, and Jake would cover that, and your belongings. Back in the day would be your animals, your donkeys, your horse, etc. But amongst the inner city, Jake, they wait till you leave, etc. You get what I'm saying. So going back up. Salaki. But once we were integrated, many of us chose to adopt the personalities, trends, and mentalities of our counterparts. This was a catastrophe for Black America because even though integration had taken place, there was still an unspoken rule which made things criminal for us and justice for them. Because, like the scripture says, damn. Damn. What's it? Basically, roughly paraphrase. I'm gonna try to roughly paraphrase it. Even though the spirit bear witness that they are Israelites, if I'm not mistaken. Because basically it was, even though we were called Black, Latino, Hispanic, Native American, we we did certain things that reminded us of of the law, because deep down inside we know deeply were Hebrew Israelites, and certain morals and certain codes that we stuck by, we kept to the best of our ability. But ultimately we learned them again. But first and foremost, it was certain things that we just did not do because it was instilled in us. But again, we was coerced by the devil. So it says, yeah, it was criminal for us and justice for them, because a lot of things that Jake does now is beneficial for the so-called white man. He makes money off of our dysfunction. To that regard, there were those who felt since they were finally accepted in a new integrated society, they had a license to commit offenses like others, because, like the scripture says, you are not of the world. You know, the Lord separated us. The Lord made us above all nations, but we have become one with all people. Because you got Jakes that want to be Moabites, you got Jake that want to be Ammonites, you got Jake that want to be Hamites, you got Jake that want to be Edomites, and you have Jake that want to be everything underneath the sun, but an Israelite. And you learn that silly shit from Esau, because Esau is the master of disguise. He goes around not wanting to be himself. They were met with, but just as soon, let me see, but just as soon as they decided to test the limits, so you niggas forgot who terrain you was on. They said they were met with a sad reality. Some things just never really change. So that says, thinking on this subject in the spirit of Father's Day, there were also standards that the black men used to uphold. Now, don't get me wrong, absentee fathers and deadbeat daddies has always been a part of the black culture. However, prior to integration, a great sum of black fathers took their roles in the family more seriously. Black men were better providers and headed the family and the community with dignity, respect, and pride, a value which had become a rare commodity these days. And the reason is that because in order to in order to break break the family, you had to take the man out, and that's why Esau bent and fucked up the society, so men couldn't have control over their households and children and their women, and that's why they went to the woman, going back to the same thing the serpent did to Eve. So it's that black men back in the day were more committed to the so-called black woman, quite frankly, because looking at any other woman could have possibly been their ultimate demise. And let me see. But that's pretty much it. Yeah, I mean, yeah, back in the day, yeah, you had Jake that would ultimately, talk with a so-called black woman, because I mean, go back to slavery. We were in chains together. I mean, you had no other kingdom there, but spirit, they were there, but you get what I'm saying. But Lord's we was edified, and I would say shalom.